big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network from the sumptuous and palatial SHR Media Studios, 2 miles east of the locus of evil on the entire left coast, the Bill Mill, the capital of California, Sacramento, where late at night after I'm through with the show, the vapors of evil and brimstone and sulfur, they're everywhere, and you can't escape them. You got to belly up to the bar. We've kept your seat. And you know what? It's great to see you back. Biff is going to be your bartender tonight. He pours with the best of them, and the lava lamp is in fact lighted to my left, back on the table, your right. And what that means is that you can listen and chat at shrmedia.com, or you can watch us at the SHR Media Facebook page, the SHR Media YouTube channel, or the SHR Media group on Periscope. You got to remember, we don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversation, politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all here at the saloon. Nothing is sacred, the speech is free, but the booze is not. All that we ask is that you flush the damn toilet, jiggle the handle, and tip your waitress. There is, again, so much stuff tonight. I say that every night. I've said that every night this year, and probably since November of 2016. But it continues to be true. And some of this stuff, don't you ask yourself at the conclusion of every day, what kind of new crap am I going to be hearing or listening to tomorrow? And then you wake up the very next day and guess what? New crap. I want to make an announcement, however, that now tomorrow night would customarily be the Sackheads Against Tyranny show. And I say customarily because people are used to seeing the Sackheads Against Tyranny on Wednesday. And, where's my manners? Welcome to Simone in chat. Welcome to Mike in chat. Welcome to Mary Brockman in chat. And welcome to Beantown Billy in chat as well. Anyway, I was talking about the Chat Show. And tomorrow night, I am sad to say, now if I had an audience going, oh, I would play that. If I had a producer, I'd play that. But I don't have that sound effect, nor do I have a producer. So neither one of those things are applicable right now. Sackheads Clint will not be here. It was discovered that his rhinoplasty went bad. His rhinoplasty that first had the first rhinoplasty had a backup rhinoplasty. That one went bad. I think that was first in 2014. That was way before me. And then apparently the new rhinoplasty to fix the rhinoplasty that was fixed allegedly in 2014, but then kept coming back. that needed to be fixing, and subsequently, Sackheads Clint will not be here tomorrow. However, with special arrangements, I had to call Vladimir Putin to get the acceptance on this. With his approval, tomorrow night, we will have Sackheads Sean in the house with Sackheads BZ, and otherwise, as far as we're too concerned, Sackheads Clint can go to hell. Because we put on a better show than he does anyway. So, tomorrow night, you got to listen. We're going to it's the standard back and forth stuff between Sackhead Sean and Sackheads BZ. It's going to be great. Tonight, for the first hour, and I would expect moving into the second hour as well, because there's so much information that I've gathered, will be an SHR special report, and it's going to be about the walk away movement, about the hashtag walk away movement. And a lot of people have said to me, BZ, because that's my name, what is that walk away movement, that hashtag business, that Twitter walk away stuff? And it's gotten to the point now that I've got so much material and so much information. And the cool thing is that I've been sending emails back and forth to the creator of this, Brandon Straka, and I hope to have him on the show in the not too terribly distant future. We're trying to figure out where he lives, whether he wants to go live, because I'm obviously on late at night right now. It's 8:07 on the left coast, and it's 11:07 on the far east coast. Invariably, my luck is such that anybody that I want to interview always is on the East Coast, and sometimes they don't want to stay up so late. I understand that. They got work. They've got dogs to feed. They've got fish. They need to clean their fish tank. They need to balance their checkbook. Who has a checkbook anymore? Yeah, guilty. Guilty as charged. In any event, that's what we'll be hearing today. That's what you'll be hearing tomorrow. And I want to start out, and also, oh my God, I'm sorry, I apologize, I almost forgot to tell you this. Before we go to the SHR Media Special Report, I've got tons of news stories, and I've got tons of happy stories, because these days, don't we need a happy story? And the answer is, oh my God, do we ever need a happy story? But on top of that, I happen to have two audio cuts that both occurred today. And if there were ever a happy story, it's these bad boys. And then we're going to go into some news, because so many things have happened again today. There's so many updates that you need to know.
Hey there. Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Over the past 75 years, more than 10,000 chemicals have entered our food supply, but the EU allows just 300 additives. At Thrive Market, we prioritize quality, banning over 1,000 ingredients found in conventional grocery stores. Our Healthy Swap scanner helps you find better versions of your pantry essentials, without the junk, dyes, or fillers, and everything is delivered right to your doorstep. So shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health at thrivemarket.com/getstarted for 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift.
About, and we will get to the SHR Media Special Report, and it will be thorough and in-depth, as you would expect out of me. But first,
it's time for happy stories and good times.
This is, without a doubt, like I said, there are two audio cuts that I want to play for you. The first one is from President Trump, and I believe he was speaking at the UN today. So he had a global stage, and with that, he had a global message. If you haven't heard this, and if you, at the conclusion of this cut, I think it's 1 minute and 48 seconds. It's not all that long, and maybe you should investigate the full thing. But this is the salient part that I pulled out of it for me. President Trump said, everything that I've been wanting to hear out of a president for literally years.
The United States took the only responsible course. We withdrew from the Human Rights Council, and we will not return until real reform is enacted. For similar reasons, the United States will...
Nikki Haley is sitting in the audience, and John Bolton happens to be right behind her, and they are smiling.
...provide no support and recognition to the International Criminal Court.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been wanting that to happen for years and years and years. We're not answering to you anymore.
As far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy,
thank you,
and no authority.
Thank you.
The ICC claims near universal jurisdiction over the citizens of every country, violating all principles of justice, fairness, and due process. We will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy.
That's exactly what that's the opposite of what you would get under a Hillary Clinton regime right now. That's why you elected President Trump.
America is governed by Americans. We reject the ideology of globalism, and we embrace the doctrine of patriotism. Around the world, responsible nations...
Dude, if I wouldn't mess up your makeup, I'd kiss you right now.
...must defend against threats to sovereignty, not just from global governments, but also from other new forms of coercion and domination. In America, we believe strongly in energy security for ourselves and for our allies. We have become the largest energy producer anywhere on the face of the earth. The United States stands ready to export our abundant, affordable supply of oil, clean coal, and natural gas.
Have you not wanted to hear a president of the United States say that and announce that to the world for years? We are America. We are Americans. We are proud to be American. We are sovereign, and we don't answer to you globalists. We answer to ourselves. Because if it weren't for us in World War II, you'd all be speaking German or Japanese. That was a great cut. And that was the president stepping up on the world stage. And of course, did you hear this trumpeted throughout all of the hallowed halls? On MSNBC, CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN. Of course you didn't. You heard all this claptrap and bullshit about what's going on with Kavanaugh. But wait, there was a second massive dose of common sense issued forth today. First by President Trump. The next one, thank God, by, of all people, Lindsey Graham. If this isn't a massive slice of common sense, I don't know what is.
What are they supposed to do? Go interview everybody in Maryland in the summer of 1982? Were they supposed to go every house in a certain town? There's nothing to be learned here.
He's talking about how everyone wants the FBI to solve this thing and prove once and for all that Kavanaugh is a serial rapist.
From an FBI investigation. We're talking about appointing somebody to be in charge of the rule of law. I'm going to adopt the rule of law as my standard.
Thank you.
If this were a criminal allegation, you would never get out of the batter's box because you can't tell the accused where it happened and when it happened, and there's no corroboration outside the accusation itself. You couldn't sue in civil court for the same reason. You could not even get a warrant. So I will respectfully listen to Dr. Ford. But here's the question for me and others. What is the standard? What is it going to be? Are you really innocent or guilty based on the accusation? Is there any presumption of innocence left in the confirmation process? We have an
Oh, just wait. I have audio cuts to or for you about that as well. And I think you know where they're going. Please continue, Senator Graham.
Accusation, 35 years old, without any verification, and I'm going to look at his entire life, not just this one moment in time in high school that I don't know when it happened and where it happened. And here's what I see from his entire life, a life well lived. And here's my understanding of this area of the law. If you're a sexual predator, if you're a serial rapist, you don't just do it a couple years and quit. The Harvey Weinsteins of the world continue to do it. And when you have a power over a woman, that's when you're most likely to do it. What do I have with Kavanaugh? That you've lived a damn good life, that all the women who worked for you that you had power over said, he was a good boss, he was respectful, he helped me in my career. So here's what I'm saying. If the accusation is enough, God help us all around here. It's okay to challenge the accuser. It's okay to allow the person being accused to come forward. It's okay to look at this from a systems point of view, not from a political, emotional point of view. And here's what I will do. I will respectfully listen, but if there's nothing new here, I am not going to deny him a promotion to the Supreme Court based on a 35-year-old accusation where all the facts that we do know about seem to suggest it didn't happen the way described. So I'm really pretty firm that this is a moment in time for the Senate and the judiciary. If this is enough to deny a person a seat on the Supreme Court who's otherwise lived an incredibly good life,
listen to this.
I don't know where this ends.
He's correct. He doesn't know where this ends. Welcome to Jan McKillop. Glad to see you in chat. Thank you for being here. Much more coming. By the way, did you hear this? The Polish president, in terms of happy stories, the Polish president has urged the United States to consider opening up a base in Poland, and the president wants to call it Camp Trump. Polish President Andrzej Duda urged President Donald Trump last Tuesday during a joint news conference to deploy more U.S. troops and military equipment to Poland, even suggesting the U.S. establish a permanent military base and name it Fort Trump. I invite you to post more American military troops in Poland, Duda said, calling a U.S. presence a guarantor of security. Here's a country that actually wants our presence. By the way, if you're not aware of Poland, because I've had some Polish acquaintances, an American can go to Poland. If you want to visit Europe, one of the first places I'd recommend is go see Poland. The Polish people love Americans, and they respect Americans, and Americans respect the Poles, as a matter of fact. A great country. And if I were touring Europe, that's the first place that I would go. Also, and I'm going to try, maybe I can try to find a cut for tomorrow night during Sackheads when Sackheads Sean drops in. President Trump today in front of the UN also said that, by the way, my God, I've been waiting years for a president to say this. He also said, foreign aid, by the way, to people that aren't our friend, yeah, that foreign aid is gone. It's done. Here's another story. This comes from my really good friend Jeff Dunitz and his Yid with Lid blog. By the way, you can find his writing, his great writing at lidblog.com. And remember how everyone was telling us that Kaepernick is such a great guy. He has sacrificed so much. And Nike picked him up as a perfect spokesman and representative and an exquisite example for Nike and the people that want to buy Nike products. And not to say that apparently he isn't making a shit ton of cash for Nike, because apparently he is. And leftists are putting their money on Nike. Don't know how long it's going to go. Here's a story that Jeff Dunitz unearthed. The headline goes like this: Gillette teaches Nike what a real hero is like. Nike's currency is controversy, and they cashed an enormous check just days ago with their Colin Kaepernick-centered advertising campaign. But a new Gillette commercial has put Nike and Kaepernick to shame. Kaepernick, who many of us recall was a mediocre second stringer at best, who's out of the NFL because he decided to turn down his team's offer and go free agent, and then a year later turned down another offer from a different team. Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Kaepernick made a name for himself on the field in other ways. His anthem-kneeling protests against the vagaries of racial injustice may very well be now leading the NFL into dark financial times. And guess what? Again, the ratings are down for, this would be the second year in a row. And the NFL is starting to become just a bit concerned because when you hit them in the pocketbook, when you hit most corporations in the pocketbook, they tend to listen a little bit more. Nike, however, seems to be cashing in on the divisive former athlete, as Nikes want to do, and they're using someone who plays a team sport but believes in making himself famous in a campaign whose tagline is, "Believe in something if only it costs you everything." Now, remember, you're supposed to be outraged, et cetera, because Nike is selling, they're selling $200 shoes, but these aren't regular shoes. These are leftist shoes, and as a leftist, you should want to purchase all these shoes. By the way, the Gillette commercial that I'm referring to here, I happen to see this evening, and it's a great commercial. Well, Gillette, they weren't going to let that stand. Unlike Nike, Gillette's ad features somebody who really makes sacrifices and does what he believes. Their ad features Seattle Seahawks rookie linebacker Shaquem Griffin. Griffin, I hope you're sitting down, had his left hand amputated at age 4 because of a birth defect, an amniotic band syndrome. And so Procter & Gamble, who is Gillette's owner, said, "We're proud to share his inspiring story. NFL rookie Shaquem Griffin knows that nothing comes easy, from earning Defensive Player of the Year in college to suiting up. He is hired by the Seattle Seahawks. He suits up for the Seattle Seahawks. Hard work and dedicated father have helped Shaquem overcome any obstacle. The 6-foot, 227-pound linebacker was selected by the Seahawks in the 5th round." And the ad says, "Your best never comes easy." Oh, wait. I think I may have the commercial. And, here we go. You need to see it because it's out there playing right now. Come on. Are you going to play for me? Okay, this is a promo. This is not the actual thing itself. Well, let's continue with good stories. Happy stories, not crazy stories. By the way, did you happen to hear that, this is grand. If you watch Tucker Carlson, he calls Michael Avenatti the representative of Stormy Daniels. Tucker Carlson calls Avenatti the creepy porn lawyer. Well, that exploded, so everyone that doesn't particularly like him calls him the creepy porn lawyer. And now here's a story by Carrie Baxter Donovan that says, developing. Did the creeping porn lawyer Avenatti get trolled by 4chan posters? Because apparently, according to this article, he was sent some material that evidently was not true. Here's the deal. Today, he faces utter humiliation. Sunday, he was eager to jump into the Judge Kavanaugh circus with vulgar and graphic tweets. This is what he was alleging. That he had contact with someone who knew for a fact that Brett Kavanaugh was involved back then in gang rapes. How salacious, prurient, and ridiculous is that accusation, but he was betting everything on it. He was accusing Kavanaugh of committing all of those things, claiming he had another client who would expose a debased circle of pornographic rapists, of which Avenatti posted numerous times about Judge Brett Kavanaugh. Then there was this story. This is from Breitbart. This is where the schadenfreude come in. Michael Avenatti, apparently after having been trolled with that information, suddenly and mysteriously, Michael Avenatti locks his account after admitting the Kavanaugh accuser might not come forward. Okay, now, if I had a producer, you would have heard something like this. The Kavanaugh accuser might not come forward. But, of course, I don't have a producer, and that's not what you heard. Attorney Michael Avenatti said his client might not come forward against Brett Kavanaugh, and then he locked his Twitter profile from view completely. So I guess he didn't want to get trolled himself after apparently getting trolled. After 2 days of trying to gin up publicity with the news that he has a 100% credible accuser against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, adding that she has multiple witnesses to corroborate her story and that she, like Ford, is willing to take a polygraph. Avenatti appeared to walk back that assurance in a Tuesday morning tweet. It said, "Let me be clear. We will disclose the client's name and accusations only when she is ready and we have adequate security measures in place, and not a moment before that." After lobbying the entire past weekend for this bombastic release that he was going to make. Not a moment before that. It's her choice and hers alone as to when to surface. It's her life. We expect it will be within the... Then he drops this. We expect it will be within the next 36 hours. Well, don't hold your breath waiting, because apparently what it sounds like is that he got trolled by people from 4chan. Go look up information about 4chan. Very, very interesting. Then there's this. Now, you may or may not know that Bill Cosby was found guilty, and he was sentenced today in court. After the reading of the sentence, he started laughing. I don't know whether it's because he's nuts or he just doesn't care. Basically, I don't care about Bill Cosby anymore. Who cares about an 81-year-old guy? I'll never get to 81. Anyway, here's the deal now on CNN. A CNN guest compares Bill Cosby to Brett Kavanaugh and says that it's now disturbing to condemn Cosby, but not Kavanaugh.
Hey, yes, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, like Ariva said, he chose not to say anything, which, of course, a judge shouldn't consider. But again, you can't consider something someone...
Oh, by the way, I should tell you that Cosby got 3 years to 10 years in state prison. He's going to have to serve a minimum of 3. He'll come up for probation or parole. If he's refused and he's continuously subsequently refused, then he'll have to spend 10 years, but it depends upon his behavior.
That never says. But, during the break, I'm scrolling through Twitter and I'm looking at people actually saying and applauding the judge in this sentence, and then in the same breath wanting to defend Kavanaugh. And it's disturbing to me because, again,
this is why CNN is in trouble. This is why CNN has a viewership about on par with the Tibetan bell-ringing channel.
Said this is a monumental defining moment this week when you have someone like Cosby going to prison and then in the same breath having Kavanaugh possibly going to the highest court in the land. And so anyone that's defending Kavanaugh...
Okay, and the reason I play this is because this is just damn nuts. This is just crazy business going on. This I found out... Oh, you know what? Hang on. Let me play this. Whiskey Dale is not in chat. Whiskey Dale, however, is responsible for giving me Clyde, the Bobcat, as the mascot of the Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. 3 days ago, over the weekend, Whiskey Dale sends me an email, and he says, hey, use this. I made it for Dwayne Patterson for the Hugh Hewitt Show, and Dwayne never used it, so I'm giving it to you. So what I'd like to do is use this for the first time ever. I have it play, and I'm going to play it from my laptop, from the email itself, because I haven't downloaded it yet, and I haven't done anything sonically with it. But this Whiskey Dale, if you're listening but you're not in chat, I got to tell you, brother, thank you for this one. This is great as a news opener.
To achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon.
And this is exactly how I'll use it, because this is now what you're going to hear. A little bit of news and some updates.
My fellow Americans,
we got 2 minutes before the bottom of the hour. We'll do a little bit of news before and after the break. I love the end of this. This is grand, because here it comes. This is a great way to intro news.
I will build a great wall. Stand by for news.
That's a great intro. I love the heck out of that. So, Whiskey Dale, thank you ever so kindly. This is an interesting story. I found this from thegatewaypundit.com. Document expert. Multiple discrepancies discovered in Senator Feinstein's Christine Ford letter, to the point where it appears that it may be a fraud. And this is, of course, another story that you haven't heard. All about the fruited plain. Another internet sleuth released a series of tweets that are damning to the letter provided by Senator Feinstein from Dr. Ford, who accused Judge Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct nearly 40 years ago. The internet is a place where individuals with all sorts of different backgrounds and skill sets are able to combine their efforts to address the many lies in the mainstream media today. This happens all the time, and the mainstream media hates it when their lies are uncovered or questioned. Now, yesterday, an individual named Dr. Danielle Blumenthal released a series of tweets that dissect and refute the letter provided by Senator Feinstein from the accuser of Judge Kavanaugh. Dr. Ford's letter is apparently full of flaws, which lead one to realize that something just doesn't add up. One of the things she said is that she believes Ford's letter is written by a third party. She says, and I'm reading just part of the tweet because it's a long thread, but I didn't hear anything about this information coming out. By the way, welcome to one viewer. I see another viewer in chat. My professional opinion is based on 2.5 years of being responsible for constituent letters from Congress, meaning I have scanned, read, reviewed, routed, and responded to hundreds of them. I have a PhD in sociology and a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies with a focus on creative writing. And she goes on to she provides numerous instances about the font, the way, the wording, etc. It's just an interesting story, and I found out that, I haven't heard a thing about this. But then you have to ask yourself, are you really shocked? I don't think so. Tell you what, come right back right after this.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny, on shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday, live and direct on the SHR Media Network, shrmedia.com. Be there.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through SHRmedia.com, HighPlainsTalkRadio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on BlogTalkRadio.com. There's
no surrender ever,
because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
Hey, who's going to take Sean's chair?
I'll run the buttons if you want.
The what?
The slider
the
thingies. Those
what?
Things.
We have those?
Yeah, right over there.
Where?
It's on the board. That damn technology.
Fucking technology.
I know. What are we going to call it?
Call what?
The show.
What?
The show.
What show?
The new show, Wednesdays. Every Wednesday on SHRmedia.com. 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Sackheads.
Against tyranny.
There you
Against
go.
tyranny.
I like that. Let's do it.
You guys are porked.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are in fact listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin. That is me, sitting right here in this chair. I am the bulbous one, broadcasting live from the SHR Media Studios in Sacramento, Fornicalia. Thanks for listening. Another reminder for everybody that Sackheads Clint is not going to be here tomorrow night. It will be instead Sackheads BZ, moi, and also Sackheads Sean is going to be right here in the room, and it's going to be a great show. Now, before we go into the special report, what I want to make you aware of is, welcome to Andy Wood. Andy Wood just jumped into chat. Welcome. Good to see you. There are so many stipulations, and at this point, this hour that I'm broadcasting, apparently Ford is going to appear on Thursday, and then Mitch McConnell has said, and Lindsey Graham as well, that there's going to be a vote Friday. That's as of this hour. All of that stuff can change. But I want you to understand and try to grok the concept of how difficult all this stuff was to get together, needlessly so. Here's a Washington Times article. Kavanaugh accuser asks Senate to limit press access for the hearing. Okay, but you're making the accusation. Oh, wait, it gets better. Christine Blasey Ford's lawyers have asked senators to limit the press who will be allowed in the room to cover Thursday's hearing with her and Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, and sought to dictate at least some of the outlets. So she wants to dictate who comes in to the hearing in terms of the press. Apparently, coverage is one of the number of issues Ms. Blasey Ford's lawyers are negotiating with Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Michael Bromwich said in emails sent this afternoon, that he was requesting access for 3 robocams, 3 specific wire services, photographers from the Associated Press, Reuters, and 1 unspecified service, and a pool reporter for newspapers and magazines. In a follow-up email, he specified that the robocams should be operated by the C-SPAN TV pool, and said he also wanted space for a radio reporter. Those emails were among several seen by the Washington Times detailing the tense negotiations between Ms. Blasey Ford's team and the committee staff. While committees sometimes limit press based on space at hearings, and some witnesses have arranged to have their identities shielded, longtime Capitol Hill watchers struggled to think of precedent for a witness dictating terms of press coverage. This is a witness dictating the terms of the press coverage, and this is one of the few times when apparently the press is just jiggy with that. They're just fine with it. Here's a new one. This is also a new article that just came in. This is from, of all places, I got this through Drudge, which is not uncommon. But the source is something called LMT Online. The headline is, Arizona prosecutor emerges as GOP choice to question Kavanaugh and accuser. And the problem with that is that all along, her lawyer has insisted that anyone with a P in their name, as in prosecutor, will not question Ms. Blasey Ford. Arizona prosecutor, but the GOP made a decision. Arizona prosecutor Rachel Mitchell has emerged as Senate Republicans' choice to question Brett Kavanaugh and the woman who has accused the Supreme Court nominee of sexually assaulting her when they were teenagers. And that's from 2 people who were familiar with the decision. Now, Mitchell is the Sex Crimes Bureau Chief for the Maricopa County's Attorney's Office in Phoenix, and is the leading candidate to query the 2 at Thursday's highly anticipated hearing in the Senate Judiciary Committee, according to the individuals. Now, with that having been said, do you not wonder how long that will stay? And bets, anybody? Let's take some bets. I don't know, for the people that are watching live on Periscope or YouTube or Facebook, anybody that's watching live right now, or anybody that happens to be in listening at shrmedia.com, and the people that are in chat, and the people that listen later on in podcast. Now, I want you to tell me what your thoughts are about what's the percentile that you give for Christine Blasey Ford actually deigning to make an appearance on Thursday if she doesn't get everything to go her way. What are you saying? Are you going like 100% she's going to be there? Are you going like 75% she's going to be there, maybe 75%? I'm giving it 50-50. That's this hour. That's at about 8:42 p.m. on Pacific time right now. Oh, Simone. Hello to you. I think I said hello to you earlier. Simone in chat says 0%. Wow, okay. Right now I'm saying it's 50-50. Anybody know? It's like, and I say this in jest, but in a way I kind of mean it. It's like, did you guys ever hear the story about Van Halen? And in their contract, when they did a concert, the contract specifically said no brown M&Ms in the M&M bowl. And then that became a meme. That became a story. And I listened to David Lee Roth, who was the front man for Van Halen for years, who said, that's not a fabrication. That's actually true. I specified in the contract no brown M&Ms in the bowl. And it's like, I can tell you why. There's a reason that he said that in the contract. But it's like, now is Christine Blasey Ford now a member of the no M&Ms team? And apparently, yeah. apparently a member of the No Brown M&Ms Accepted team. And with that, let's just start.
This is an SHR Media Network special report.
So perhaps some of you were wondering, what is walk away? There's a hashtag from Twitter, and a hashtag is like a big umbrella under which you put all sorts of injections and interjections from all sorts of people that are talking on a central topic. So the central topic is hashtag walk away. And I've seen it around for a long time, and I had to ask, all right, so what is walk away? Because it's been around now for a couple of months. Basically, as I indicated, it's a Twitter hashtag indicating that people should walk away from the Democrat Party for a host of reasons. And here happens to be one of them.
In a black working class household, being a Democrat was practically on my birth certificate. But then again, I started feeling like there were certain things that I wasn't supposed to say or certain things that I wasn't supposed to think. I wasn't allowed to talk about the things like fatherlessness in the black community. I wasn't allowed to talk about the things like poverty in the black community. I wasn't allowed to talk about all of these different things. I was ostracized when I started bringing these things up. You see, when I did that, I was called a self-hater or an Uncle Tom when I decided to talk about the things that I think really needed to be done in the black community.
Anybody think that Chicago falls perfectly into this?
It's like they wanted me to be a victim. They wanted me to be somebody that I never was. As somebody who served in the military, as somebody who brought myself up by my bootstraps, I was never a victim. And I didn't want to embrace victimhood, and I didn't want to be told just to be a certain type of black person or to be a certain type of progressive that I had to embrace victimhood. The only thing they wanted me to see was the color of my skin, or to see my sexual orientation, or to continue to see myself as a victim over and over and over again. And you know what? I got tired of it. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, if you're black, if you're Latino, if you're Muslim, if you're poor, if you're born wealthy, whatever, you can make something out of yourself because this is America. When I decided that the Democratic Party and the progressives weren't about that anymore, when I found out that it was more important to them for me to see myself as a victim, when there were people who seemed to be more invested in my victimhood than in my success, just because I'm black, just because I'm gay, just because I'm both, that was when I knew that it was time to walk away.
Oh, but wait. If you think this is a passing fad, no, it's not too. Now here's, folks, I'm guessing that you probably already know who Candace Owens is. And here Candace Owens is talking about walking away.
And now there's this in his grassroots
with Charles Payne.
Urging Democrats who are fed up with their party to hashtag walk away. It's called the Walk Away Movement, and it's gaining serious momentum. Joining us now, Candace Owens of Turning Point USA. Candace, you and I talked about this a little bit on Friday. I can now believe over the weekend, that's all I saw on Twitter. And people are really grateful. I know also Turning Point's working on a similar campaign, but explain to the audience what's going on here.
Look, I think it's the most natural thing in the entire world. Unfortunately, the left and the Democrats, the party is unrecognizable to many people, especially millennials. They've become violent, they've become extreme, and I think beyond that, they have really radical ideas. Altogether, we're talking about socialism as a platform, which, as we both know, has killed over 100 million people in the last 100 years. How can people say on the left anymore?
But the notion also, though, that people are now brave enough to walk away. I mean, listen, you take a considerable amount of backlash if you're part of any sort of special interest group that is expected to be Democrat. And people are shocked when you're not a Democrat. If you're a black person and you're not a Democrat, people are shocked.
Bingo.
If you're Hispanic and you're not a Democrat, people are shocked. And it takes a certain amount of courage to, quote, hashtag walk away.
You know, it definitely does. And I think what we can contribute this to is social media. Social media has provided that courage to people because you're looking around and you're seeing so many.
And do you wonder why the the magnets, the massive magnets of social media are trying to silence conservative voices. This is why. It's social media, it's on social media by which these things are getting out, and they don't want them to get out.
Like-minded individuals pop up. Me, as a black person who says, look, I have conservative values. Then many people that trailblazed before me, like Larry Elder, Condoleezza Rice, and Dr. Ben Carson, they didn't have social media in the way that we have it today, which allows us to springboard off of their ideas.
Yes, Mary Brockman says Owens is black. Absolutely correct.
And make it okay to come out. The walk away hashtag was started by a gay hairdresser in New York City. So we're seeing so many people pop up. And as I said, this is just the beginning. I really do believe we are seeing the end of the Democratic Party as we know it.
A gay hairdresser in New York. Now, do you remember that at the beginning of the show, I said that I had contacted a person by the name of Brandon Straka, and that I'm going to get Brandon Straka on the show? Well, who is Brandon Straka, and why does that name perhaps resonate with you, if it resonates at all? Maybe it doesn't even resonate.
Once upon a time, I was a...
But it will resonate with you after this.
Liberal. Well, to be honest, less than a year ago, I was still a liberal. I became a liberal because I felt I'd found a tribe whose values aligned with my own. I staunchly reject racism of any kind. I reject the marginalization of any human being based off of their gender or sexual orientation. I reject tyrannical groupthink. I reject a system which allows an ambitious, misinformed, and dogmatic mob to suppress free speech, create false narratives, and apathetically steamroll over the truth.
Whoa. By the way, were you aware? And I'm 36 seconds into this video with the audio that I'm portraying for you right now tonight. But even after 36 seconds of this video, by the way, were you aware that there will be, in about a week and a half or so, a big march in Washington from this walk away? And last week on Twitter, by the way, who had his account suspended? Oh, that's right, this guy.
I reject the acceptance of junk science and superstition to advance ideological agendas. I reject hate. These are the reasons why I became a liberal. And these are the same reasons why I am now walking away. For years now, I have watched as the left has devolved into intolerant, inflexible, illogical, hateful, misguided, ill-informed, un-American, hypocritical, menacing, callous, ignorant, narrow-minded, and at times, blatantly fascistic behavior and rhetoric. Liberalism has been co-opted and absorbed by the very characteristics it claims to fight against. For years now, I've watched as people on the left have become anesthetized to their own prejudices and bigotry, and the prejudices and bigotry of those around them who echo their values. I have watched as formerly sensible people who claim to reject racism have come to embrace the principles of universally hating and blaming all of society's problems on all people who have white skin. I have witnessed the irony of advocacy for gender equality morph into blatant hatred and intolerance of men and masculinity. I have seen the once earnest fight for equality for the LGBT community mutate into an illogical demonization of heteronormativity and the push to vilify and attack our conventional concepts of gender. These same self-proclaimed victims of intolerance now turning on the gay community that they attached themselves to advance their agenda, now calling gay people privileged and themselves victims of injustice.
Oh, wait, even just like Animal Farm, all animals are equal except some animals are more equal than others. Is that how it's going?
I have watched as the left has allowed themselves to become hypnotized by false narratives and conclusions perpetuated by social justice warriors who misrepresent and misconstrue facts, evidence, and events to confirm their own biases that everyone who does not comply with their prejudicial conclusions and follow their orders is a racist, a bigot, a Nazi, a white supremacist, homophobic, Islamophobic, xenophobic, misogynistic, and alt-right extremist. And I have watched as they have used these heartless and carelessly assigned labels to intimidate, threaten, bully, silence, attack, unemploy, blacklist, and destroy anybody who dares to fight back. They'll come for me, and then they'll come for you. And worst of all,
Imagine
the Democratic
that.
Party and the liberal media has embraced, affirmed, aided, and abetted this cult ideology. In an effort to gain voters and maintain power, the Democratic Party that I once loved has joined forces with the extremist left. The Democratic Party and the liberal media now believe their own ill-gotten conclusions and have ominously decided that they, and only they, know the remedy for society's ills. The left has decided that the solution to problems with race relations in America is more racism. The left believes that attacking, insulting, and dehumanizing one group of people elevates another. The left now believes that there are no boundaries when telling lies, omitting the truth, or misrepresenting facts when telling the news.
And are you not seeing that these days in the Kavanaugh hearings? The first day of the Kavanaugh hearing was sheer insanity.
Because their end justifies their means. The left has now decided that its point of view is the only acceptable one, and that suppressing, censoring, and banning open dialogue and debate is virtuous and progressive.
Which is why they banned him.
The Democratic Party has adopted a deleterious belief system, happily and without skepticism, separating people into groups based off of identity, and then organizing them into camps of victims and oppressors. If you are a person of color, an LGBT person, a woman, or an American immigrant, the Democratic Party wants you to know that you are a victim and destined to stay that way. They will insist that you are a victim doomed to exist within a system that is rigged against you, that you are a victim of systemic oppression, that you are a victim of your circumstances, and that no amount of hard work or motivational action will ever allow you to overcome your victimhood or the privilege of those around you. This is perhaps the Democratic Party's greatest and most insidious lie. But if you are a minority in America today, the left-wing politicians and the liberal media don't want you to ever discover this lie. So they bombard us with stories designed to reinforce the narrative that you are in danger, that you cannot succeed.
Stop right there. Have you noticed that in the past year, as far as leftists, what I call the LDAM are concerned, leftists, Democrats, and the American media maggots, everything, and I mean everything is a catastrophe. Everything is catastrophic.
They manipulate your fears and concerns by telling you that you're disadvantaged, disempowered, and disposable to everyone except them. They will tell you that you need them. They will tell you that you are only safe under their supervision. They will promise to liberate you from all that chains you.
Right.
And then they will do absolutely nothing for you. Once upon a time,
once they have your vote,
I was a liberal. But liberalism has changed, and I will no longer be a part of an ideology or political party that represents everything that contradicts my values of unity, equal opportunity, personal empowerment, compassion, and love. So I am walking away. And I encourage all of you to do the same. Walk away.
And the reason I'm playing this for you tonight is I want you to know this isn't just a thing. This isn't just a fad. This isn't just a passing fancy, so to speak. This is here to stay. And I think that this is going to I have lots of people to play for you, audio that I want you to hear about all the reasons that so many people are picking up the hashtag of walk away, and they're not walking away, they're running away. And there's a very serious reason why this is never addressed. And, of course, towards the end of the special report, I'll tell you absolutely all about that. But the walkaway hashtag started about a month or two ago, about 2 months, and the movement to abandon liberalism, it just went nuts. It went viral. Let's see. According to an article last Thursday in the Epoch Times, some 5 million people on Facebook and YouTube have seen the groundbreaking video showing a very handsome gay man who describes his awakening to the inanities of liberalism and the Democrat Party. And it gets worse. It's only going to get worse for the LDAM. Straka, he published his original walkaway video back on May 26th, so I'm wrong. It's more than just a couple of months ago. But it's been doing nothing but gathering like a tsunami. And since that, basically what he said is his life has been overtaken by a tidal wave. The movement, though, has been particularly successful because all of its spokespersons are making it successful. They're not the people that you typically associate with conservatives. Young people, old people, black people, white people. I've got a ton of them, men and women, gay, straight. It really doesn't make any difference. One of the quotes that I thought was absolutely incisive is, Democrats walked away from black folks long ago. Now it's our time to walk away. And here's another explanation that I'm going to play for you. We got about another 2 minutes before the top of the hour break. We'll continue. But these aren't spokesmen. These aren't paid people. These are actual real-life individuals weighing in on why, to them, this is important. And to them, it's extremely important.
It's taking the internet by storm. It's reached over 2 billion people, and is basically a bunch of people explaining their story, how they left the left, how they went from liberal or democratic to moving further right or just supporting President Donald Trump. It was started by a page called The Unsilent Majority.
By the way, supporting Donald Trump,
who is a gay former liberal who came out and explained why he considers himself now conservative and completely disgusted with the left wing. Millions of people feel just like him from every race, religion, sexual orientation, and ethnicity. But the news simply doesn't want to report on it. Most mainstream outlets, and certainly liberal-leaning outlets, just ignore this blatant reality that is further pushing and scaring millions of people like Brandon away. Here are a bunch of stories and accounts that you'll never see on the news. Voted for Bill Clinton, Al Gore, John Kerry, and Obama. My eyes were open once I found out the real frauds that the Democratic Party had become. None of them ever delivered any promises ever made, until Trump came along. The rest is history.
But wait, there's a lot more coming up. And like I say, I want you to hear it from the voices of the people themselves. I may as well Bigfoot the end of my SHR special report right now, and that's this. If you think, for whatever reason, that the Democrats have it in the bag on November 6th, and that all of these polls are showing that the Republicans are so far behind, yeah, you do need to get your ass out and vote. But as opposed to the Democrats who think this is just a gimme, the other reason that I want to play all of this for you tonight and tell you this tonight is, oh, it's no gimme. Not by any stretch.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On SHRmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. SHRmedia.com. Be there.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through SHRmedia.com, HighPlainsTalkRadio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on BlogTalkRadio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
Hey, who's going to take Sean's chair?
I'll run the buttons if you want.
The what?
The slider
the
thingies.
The
Those
what?
things.
We have those?
Yeah. Right over there.
Where?
It's on the board. That damn technology.
Fucking technology.
I know. What are we going to call it?
Call what?
The show.
What?
The show.
What show?
The new show, Wednesdays. Every Wednesday on SHRmedia.com. 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Sackheads.
Against tyranny.
There you
Against
go.
Against tyranny.
I like that. Let's do it.
You guys are porked.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires, due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network, to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's 9:04 p.m. in the Pacific Time. It's 11:04 p.m. at night on the East Coast. In Bolivia, it's 1752 and 725.7273, subparagraph 4. Like I say, in Bolivian time. I never got Bolivian time. Anyway, we're continuing on with the special report tonight, the SHR Media Network special report about the hashtag walk away and what it is and what it means to people. People that aren't bots, people that are real, people with voices, people with history. Here's a guy named C.J. Pearson, and he says, the Democrat Party is the party of slavery. It's the party of Jim Crow, the party of segregation, and the party of the KKK.
C.J. Pearson. Democrats have long forsaken the black community, and this is no recent occurrence. Ever since the founding of the party, Democrats have used and abused people of color in this country. If you think of every racist, vile organization that has erected itself in this country's history, it was all founded by Democrats. From the KKK, to segregation, to Jim Crow, to slavery, all of it, founded by Democrats. Those are all indisputable historical facts.
Correct.
Now, this is the same party that likes to claim today that Black Lives Matter, but has also, brought about the destruction of inner cities across America. Look at Chicago, for one, where black babies can't even play outside on the sidewalk without the threat of a bullet being lodged in their cranium. Or maybe we could look at Detroit, where 30-plus years of Democratic leadership have led the city to a state of total and complete financial insolvency. Democrats like to claim that Black Lives Matter, but I don't think they do. I think black votes do, but black lives, not too much. And if they do matter to Democrats, they have a really funny way of showing it. It is long overdue for people of color and black folks in this country to open their eyes and to just realize that Democrats don't care about us, not one bit. They walked away from us a long time ago, and it's time for us to do the same. To realize that Democrats haven't been delivering for us, but the other side, much more so. Like Donald Trump, who's brought about the lowest black unemployment rate in our nation's history. And it has brought about rising wages in the black community like we've never seen before. And we can also talk about the broader Republican Party that, supported the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and also, freed the slaves. Those are all historical, indisputable facts that Democrats don't want you to know.
Thank you.
Because those facts are freeing. They make you think for yourself. They make you demand more, demand better, and they don't want you to do that. Their entire grip on power rests on the control of black minds. And we're better than that. We deserve better than that. And that is why it's time for us to walk away.
Isn't it refreshing to hear people like this? To hear people that are free thinkers. And again, that's what the Democrats, the LDAM, don't want. They don't want free thinkers. They demand drones. They demand that you assimilate. The Democrats are essentially Borg. Then there's a guy named Brandon Tatum. Now, he reminds everybody of some very, very inconvenient truths, purposely ignored by the LDAM. He nails it in a comprehensive way that a lot of other people just don't.
Good morning, Facebook family, YouTube family, Twitter family. This is my walk away video. I had the honor and the privilege of having Brandon Strock on my show a few weeks ago. I was speaking to him over the weekend. An amazing young man that has launched a movement called Walk Away, hashtag Walk Away. And he'd asked me to do a video, and I've been waiting for the right time to do it and for the time to do it. And the time is now. And if you don't know what that is, the Walk Away movement, just search the hashtag, look up Brandon Strock, and it's STRAKA, and listen to what he's got to say. But it's a movement that's actually...
Sorry, Brandon. Don't confuse Strock with Straka. Ooh, that won't be good.
Gaining massive momentum as people from all backgrounds, walks, races, and political affiliations are choosing to walk away from everything that is the current Democrat platform and that is the Democrat ideology. So I, David J. Harris Jr., I walk away from the notion that all black folks have to vote Democrat. I walk away from the notion that I have to do what my parents did or what my father did. My dad voted for Obama. Most of the black side of my family voted for Obama and supported him. I walk away from the notion that I have to do what my parents or grandparents did. I walk away from the notion, the idea that I have to follow blindly behind Democrat leaders that have done nothing but sold the black community down the river for votes.
Thank you.
And haven't done anything for the black community. I walk away from the idea that
How otherwise could you get Chicago? How otherwise could you get Chicago or basically any major metropolitan rat cage these days?
The very founding of the Democrat Party was founded in slavery. They founded the Ku Klux Klan. They supported segregation. They fought for Jim Crow laws. And they fight for abortion. I walk away from the notion that somehow in the 60s, all of that just magically transformed and changed, and they became the movement and the party of the civil rights movement. I walk away from that lie. I walk away from the lies that the mainstream media continues to perpetuate against conservatives. I walk away from all the black celebrities and athletes that want to talk trash about our president, that want to support Democrat ideologies and policies that have been detrimental to the black community and to America's community as a whole. I walk away from the notion and the idea that a baby inside the womb is not a human being. I walk away from the idea that it's human tissue that can be done with as a woman pleases. I walk away from that entirely. I walk away from the idea that it's hate that's going to make our country great. I walk away from the idea that it's continued pursuit and perpetuated hate and demonizing anybody that opposes my views and my beliefs. I walk away from the idea that that's ever going to create any kind of unity in our country. I walk away from the ideas of the Democrat Party, of the Democrat plantation, of those of crazy Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi. I walk away from the idea that we need to abolish ICE. We need ICE. They protect Americans. I walk away from the idea...
Stop right there just for a second. I cannot not interject this at this point. Why are the Democrats kicking black Americans to the curb now? And why are the Democrats, the LDAM, the leftist Democrats and the American media maggots, all magically now all hugging Mexicans and illegals of all stripes? Let me put it this way. I don't give a fuck if France was to the south of us. If France, with all its little caucasoids running around, was doing the same thing to us that Mexico is right now, I'd be against France, and I'd say build a wall. Build a wall. Today, to keep the stupid French from coming into the United States of America. The reason that the LDAM hate the walkaway hashtag is because blacks, Americans, people of color, etc., are finally realizing that now they are being marginalized. They've always been marginalized, but they're being even more so because now they are not a monolithic voting bloc anymore, that they're beginning to think with their heads, as each of these individuals has said. So Democrats can no longer count on, for example, black Americans to be that monolithic voting bloc. Sorry, I just had to say that.
It's first over American citizens. I walk away from the idea that the Democrat Party established back in the 60s that began to strategically implement social welfare programs and government aid to black mothers as long as there were no fathers in the house. I walk away from the idea that had...
How disgusting was that? That was under Lyndon Baines Johnson and his so-called Great Society.
Anything whatsoever to do with supporting the black community, and I understand and believe it had everything to do with subduing the black community. I walk away from everything that's democratic, that's socialist. I walk away from the idea that socialism is a good idea when it's never worked in any country that's ever implemented it. All a person has to do is research the countries that have implemented socialism and see the ultimate destruction and demise of that society and of that country.
Watch and look. Learn, people. Venezuela, today, 2018.
I walk away from the idea that we need to have a big government that tells us what to do and how to do, what to do with our resources. I walk away from the idea that the government is going to make better use of our funds for our families than we will.
Just as an aside, I have to tell you this. I used to be a train chaser when I was really interested in that stuff, and I used to get cab rides from locomotives from people on the Southern Pacific and the Union Pacific. I took a photograph one day of this written in the cab of a Union Pacific locomotive. I took a picture of it, and I keep it, and I put it on my blog every now and then just to make me remember. And it said this: in the cab of a Union Pacific locomotive on a railroad. It said a government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take away everything you have.
I walk away from everything that is the socialism movement, the progressive movement. It is a communist movement that has never worked and never been a good movement for the people. I, David J. Harris Jr., walk away. Share your own walk away video, #walk away. Help support Brandon Straka in this movement. Help Americans to see that America as a whole believes in the goodness and the intention of all Americans for all Americans. That race baiting and race dividing is not the answer. That victimizing and victimhood is not the answer to live a healthy life. That speaking life over people and hoping for the best and coming together as adults and communicating and actually researching, doing your own research for yourself. I walk away that research from the idea that research is not the answer. So share your own walk away video, #walk away. Thank you, Brandon Straka, for starting this movement. I absolutely believe it's going to be massive for what the United States needs and for what Americans need to combat what the mainstream media continues to perpetuate, which is nothing but a bunch of hate.
That's Brandon Straka, by the way. Just thought you would want to know that, Mr. Tatum. Don't confuse him with the traitorous FBI agent Peter Strzok. You want more examples, though? Okay, here's a guy named David Harris Jr., and I want you to hear these things because, folks, I'm telling you tonight, 2 hours, the entire 2 hours of the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show is going to be nothing but one big-ass happy story.
Hello. How you doing? I am Christopher Wright, and I'm going to explain to you why I chose to walk away from the Democratic Party.
My mistake, it's Christopher Wright.
And go into conservatism. So, what better way to explain than while you're walking away? I'm walking away from work right now, so that's just, coincidence, but just it is what it is. And I live in the Brooklyn, New York City area. Very blue state. Grew up around a blue state too in Maryland, so been around blue most of my life. Some of a little background. When my dad was military, ex-military now. He's a retired Army major, infantry. And so he's currently in the military, but we moved around quite a bit when I was young as a military brat. I lived in Germany for 5 years, where we were stationed in Baumholder and Mannheim, 2 military bases over there. Spent 5 years over there. Saw the Berlin Wall fall. One of my earliest memories in life is watching the Berlin Wall fall. Seeing freedom. Freedom is one of the earliest memories in life. Freedom in another country, but yet...
Can you imagine being there and actually witnessing that occurring in front of your face?
Freedom, seeing families get together for the first time in decades. So that's one of the earliest memories I have in life is seeing the Berlin Wall fall. So I got pieces from the wall home and all that good stuff. But, anyways... I always had love for America, always had love for the country. I'm looking around a bit because I'm walking through the city, so I'm crossing streets and stuff, so that's why I'm looking around. You see it. But always had love for the country, always had love for America. We came to the States in 91. Been here, grew up in Maryland most of my life. Moved around from there, Georgia, Florida, now I'm in New York City. And I've been voting Democrat since I've been 18. My mom was a Democrat, my grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody you can think of in family, all Democrats. So what made me decide to go conservative? I think it was, I went and supported Obama, of course. I campaigned for him in 2008. Went door to door for the man, got him quite a few votes. And when I was down in Georgia. So, I always had that political way of thinking. So I've always been politically mind state. A political mind, but when I was looking at this current situation, I was looking at the 2016 election, I was iffy because even in 2012, I was already looking at Obama like he didn't keep a lot of his campaign promises, and he just seemed his message was a lot different from his actions when he was running. The message he had when he was running compared to what his way of governing were two different things, and I noticed that. So I was like, okay, I'm open-minded. I'm willing to look at another candidate. And 2012, there's a couple candidates I was interested in, but like Ron Paul mainly. But the media destroyed his opportunity, because they stopped covering him when he was starting to lead in the primaries, and after that, he fell off. So I know...
Imagine that.
...the media's stronghold a long time ago. So in 2016, I still was open-minded. I said I can go either way and see who the candidates are. I saw Dr. Ben Carson running on the Republican primary, and I grew up with Dr. Ben Carson because my, grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist church. My dad's Seventh-day Adventist still. I believe in God, but I don't follow a direct religion at the moment. But anyways... so he met Dr. Ben Carson a couple of times, told me all about the man, how, the first neurosurgeon to separate Siamese twins from the brain, gave me his book, Gifted Hands, when I was young, one of my first books I've read. Good book, amazing book. It helped me, shape my life in a positive way. My dad was showing me good, positive black male figures in society that weren't just athletes or rappers or, you just showed me you can be successful as a black man in America without necessarily just doing the stereotypical things that we see from the media.
What a perfect example. Dr. Ben Carson, a brain surgeon.
So I always had a lot of respect for Dr. Ben Carson. And when he was running, he definitely got my attention. So I was all support of him because, to be honest, I've never been a fan of Hillary Clinton. And I can go another video about that, but I can go on and on and on. A million things, what's wrong with her. Black men are super predators. Don't really want to go there right now. But anyways, she was not a candidate I was going to choose. So I just wanted to see what the opposition was, and if there's somebody I would vote for on the opposite side, I would choose them. If not, then maybe I have to vote independent, but we had to see. So, like I said, Dr. Ben Carson definitely got my attention, and not only did he get my attention, but he actually started leading at one point in the Republican primary, and I was excited about that. I was like, wow, he's fighting for Christians, he's fighting for a lot of values, moral values, just, old school conservative moral values he was fighting for. He wasn't a career politician. And when he started doing well, I saw the media treat him differently. And they were giving him a lot more time on television, but what they were doing was giving him interviews, and they were trying to trip him up with questions.
Yep.
And get to the point where it's like, oh, see, he's a liar, da-da-da. And they eventually got there with West Point, They misconstrued his words.
No, what they didn't say, and some actually did, is, hey, he's an Uncle Tom.
When it came to West Point and what happened, the situation happened with college with him when he was younger. And they used that to pretty much say the guy's a liar and to discredit him, and it worked. And he didn't really have the voice to fight back. So once that happened, it messed up his political chances, and that was it for him. And I saw the media pretty much do it. So when Donald Trump came around, of course, you know how he treats the media. He destroys them. He's been dealing with them his whole life, obviously, and he handles it accordingly. So he pretty much smacked up the mainstream media like he should have. And because he did that, you know, we were able to improve as a country because of what he did. You know, talking about the media, exposing the media, because that was been an issue with this country for a very, very long time. And I'm glad he was putting it out there. And then I said, all right, let me hear what this man has to say. So I listened to some of his, I was watching some of his rallies, hear his campaign speeches, a lot of his message.
Uh-oh. What we have here, as you can clearly see, is a black American with an open mind. We can't have that.
Was what resonates with me, you know. Talking about the economy, bringing jobs back, border control, border security, immigration, the travel ban, which I've been watching what's going on in Europe. That was very big for me with the travel ban, what he did there. So he just was talking a lot of things. I was like, you know what, this is what I'm about. If he's telling the truth.
I love this guy.
Truth, and, you know, I don't care who, you know, about, you know, every little detail about the man himself. If this is what he's running for and running with this stance, he's got my vote. So I came out and supported him. And the moment I came out on social media and said, hey, I'm voting for Trump, that got everybody pissed off. Family, friends.
Oh, you know what's coming now.
Oh, my gosh. Everybody. I'm talking about childhood friends. I mean, I grew up in Maryland, very blue state Maryland is. So white, black alike were very upset with me. A lot of arguments, a lot of debates, a lot of unfriending on their behalf. Not mine. I haven't unfriended nobody in real life or social media because of politics. But I've been unfriended in real life and social media by quite a few of my friends and family because of my political choices. So I'm just really here to say that I'm glad I made the vote that I did. I'm proud of what my president has done for the country, and he's stuck to his word, and he's following through. So I have nothing at all to say negative about the man. I want to tell other minorities out there who are on the fence about what they should do politically because, you know, they just feel, oh, Republican, white racist, blah, blah, blah. Don't be that way, man. Don't be afraid to go conservative. It's good for the community. It's good for the youth. I mean, it brings jobs in. It's brilliant with the economy. There's nothing wrong with voting conservative. There's nothing wrong with supporting Donald Trump. He's not some racist Nazi Hitler. He's just another presidential candidate who won, and he's doing a great job. So that's my message for everybody out there and walk away. You know, don't be afraid to walk away from the Democrat plantation.
The left sure are giving people enough of a reason to walk away. Good Americans that have been a part of the Democrat plantation.
I love listening to individual people speak their mind about this, finally.
For decades.
Because they feel free, they feel liberated to be able to speak their mind.
I think are being disgusted by what they're seeing take place by their most prominent figures, their most prominent leaders. It's absolutely disgusting to see. Whoopi Goldberg, I went off on that yesterday. She absolutely just shows the world how truly unhinged and ignorant. It's really ignorance. Whoopi Goldberg, it's really ignorance. It's ignorance that makes you so frustrated at not being able to have your meaningless point heard. I shared a video of Obama earlier on my page of how he said to illegals, he said, don't bring your children to the border. We will send them back. In the full excerpt, he actually said, we'll separate them from you. We'll send you back, and then we'll send them back. So the fact that Whoopi can go off like she did, I mean, it just shows the real ugliness that is the left. It's so ugly. I'm thankful. In that article I shared, I'm thankful that people are standing up. They're commenting on that tweet, and they're saying that's exactly why they walked away. It's exactly why they walked away, because of the ugliness that the left just continues to demonstrate that they have they're not tolerant. They're not tolerant. They don't care. They think they're right. Everybody else is wrong. They don't want to listen to anybody else. Thank you, Judge Janine. I got to meet her in Dallas a month or so ago. Amazing woman, amazing story.
He meant Judge Janine Pirro. And when he talks about tolerance, I said this initially almost 10 years ago in terms of the big issue was, say, homosexuality, sexuality, people being gay, etc. It went in these three phases. Number one, you had to tolerate. And the second phase was acceptance, and you had to accept. And now the third phase is advocacy. If you are not an active advocate for now, these days, on the left side, fill in the blank. If you are an advocate, now you're every ist and obe under the sun.
Been fighting for children and women's rights her whole life, and Whoopi Goldberg goes off on her? Are you kidding me? Tells her to get the F out of the building, tries to intimidate her, gets all up in her face. That is the real ugliness of the left. And that's why people are walking away. I shared another article just a minute ago. I'm going to call the owner of this store today on my show. I'm going to call him. He's a Jewish immigrant. He came to this country legally. He migrated to this country legally. He's a Jewish immigrant, and he supports Donald Trump. Lives in Los Angeles, in what was a prominently Jewish neighborhood. Now there's a lot of Latinos there. That has really nothing to do with it. A busload, apparently, of protesters show up at this guy's grand opening to protest his grand opening of his business, and they hurl feces and rocks at his store. Thank you, liberals, for showing how truly ugly and racist and uninformed you are.
That's why I want you to hear these stories. That's why these stories have worth. These are stories regaled from people who've experienced this all by themselves or seen it done individually. That's why these stories are important. They're incredibly important. We're going to continue to hear these stories right after this.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m., Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through SHRmedia.com, HighPlainsTalkRadio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on BlogTalkRadio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m., right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
Hey, who's going to take Sean's chair?
I'll run the buttons if you want.
The what?
The slider
the
thingies. Those
what?
Things.
We have those?
Yeah, right over there.
Where?
It's on the board. That damn technology.
Fucking technology.
I know. What are we going to call it?
Call what?
The show.
What?
The show.
What show?
The new show, Wednesdays. Every Wednesday on SHRmedia.com. 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Sackheads.
Against tyranny.
There you
Against
go.
tyranny.
I like that. Let's do it.
You guys are porked.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Tonight, it is an SHR Media Network special report. The hashtag walk away. What does it mean? What does it mean to all sorts of people? And we've been listening to testimonial after testimonial after testimonial. Reasons why walk away resonates with all of these people. Well, here's another individual. Her name is Cara Bustos, and it means something to her.
Continue to vote for the Democratic Party just because my grandmother told me to. Just because I'm black or consider myself black. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to believe everything the Democrats say. I'm supposed to believe everyone else who is a Democrat and what they're saying. And lately, I have been having a real issue with what even people on my timeline are saying. Just, if you were to just look at my timeline, I now understand why people might want to commit suicide, especially a person of color. It sounds like, the cops around every corner, ready to shoot me for doing nothing that a white person is ready to call the cops on me, which, they are doing. And don't get me wrong. There are racist people in this world. There's a racist person on every freaking corner. Whether I know that or not. They've got racism somewhere in them. Is that really going to end? And did that end when Obama was in office? And then all of a sudden it just, comes back because Trump is in office? No, these people have always been there. And
it was the opposite under Obama. Obama was the one that was the great enabler.
I believe that these people will always still be there, no matter who's in office. But I'm a little upset with myself, actually. I'm just upset with myself that I allowed myself to be manipulated by not only the media.
Thank you.
Not only the Republican and mainly the Democratic Party.
Thank you.
But even my Facebook timeline, the people I chose to follow. I don't know if anybody watches The Matrix, but your girl, I took the red pill and I unplugged myself.
She took the red pill and she unplugged herself. Basically what she said was, I'm in the midst of an awakening that is literally shaking me to my very core.
I was just sitting here watching President Trump talking about Foxconn and explaining all of the things that he's doing for America. And he had this black lady come up there and give a little speech about how her life has changed because of some of his accomplishments and whatnot. And I'm just so proud. I'm just proud to be an American, you know. And again, Barack Obama, I respected the office. I respected the fact that he was the president, but ain't nobody like Trump, man.
Here's a guy that's proud to be an unhyphenated American. He says he's just an American.
If you want to work, it's jobs out here. And I'm literally like, I'm just crying because I'm like, it's just a good time to be alive and to be able to witness what's really going on. And we got a chance. I'm just talking about from a black perspective. If you really want to work and get up off your ass and do something,
thank you.
You can do it. I just thank God for President Trump. You know, I ain't never met the man. I don't know the man. But I'm just talking about what he's doing for our country and what he's doing for our people. Black people working, you know what I'm saying? Jobs is coming back. Factories is opening up.
What Obama failed to do for America.
You know, he helping with the drug epidemic and all that. It's just a beautiful time to be alive, y'all. Y'all gotta excuse me, but I'm wearing my feelings on my shoulder right now, and I'm just happy to be an American and where at least I know I'm free. Go Trump.
Those are beautiful words. Those are absolutely beautiful words. Quoted by a man that considers himself to be an American. Here's an article. It's titled, Why Blacks Are Leaving the Democrat Party. Okay, I put in Democrat there, not the author. The focus on illegal immigrants is helping push away blacks. The dominant feeling among the defecting bloc of African Americans is that the Democrats have abandoned them in favor of a new voting bloc of illegal immigrants whose victimhood will guarantee votes. In their view, the Democrats seem to have abandoned old loyalties for a new road to political power. Isn't that weird? Isn't that just what I said? Here's the unvarnished truth, Democrat warts and all. They're kind of rejecting black America, like that's over and now it's all about. Okay, how can we get all in on illegal immigration? How can we make this the next reliable Democrat voting bloc for the next 30 or 40 years? This isn't about my morality, and it's not about anything else. It's literally about a new voting bloc. And to that quote, I'd say absolutely. Sheila Lewis Ely, an African-American mother of two from Texas, said blacks coming out of slavery sided with the Republicans because those were the ones who fought for them. It was only because of the fact that we've got this revisionist history that you've got people who don't know who they are and have formed an allegiance with the Democrat Party because during the Kennedy administration, that was the party that was really forthright with the Civil Rights Act. When you look at blacks, they've been conservatives for a very long time. They're the group who really don't believe in abortion. They follow the Bible to the letter. They're very rigid about the things that need to happen. Isn't that amazing? And then there's more truth spoken.
So you weren't part of the resistance movement? There were a number of Hollywood celebrities.
Not resisting.
You got Michael Moore, you got Chelsea Handler, you've got Bette Midler. All
usual suspects.
Yeah, all.
By the way, this is Candace Owens on Fox and Friends.
All talking about how this is a terrible president, November's coming. Rob Reiner tweeted this out. The greatest gift we can give to America on her 242nd birthday is the survival of democracy. Forces of authoritarianism and racism are fighting to destroy it. Now is the time for patriots to stand up, make our voices heard. We love you, America. Stay strong. Thank you, Rob Reiner.
No, thank you, Rob Reiner. I would say patriots are standing up and hearing their voices heard, and that's why Donald Trump is sitting in the Oval Office. I think it's
driving them crazy.
It's just driving them absolutely insane. And look, Hollywood has acted almost as a megaphone for the left. It wasn't just Hollywood that was tweeting this. There was also a tweet from Kamala Harris about illegal immigrants in support of illegal immigration. On the one day that you would think that they could hit pause and celebrate this great nation, our troops, the many troops that are still alive that fought in wars, and they were unable to do it. So they don't defeat the notion whatsoever that we all feel that the left is un-American and Hollywood is just a megaphone for them.
What I think find most disturbing is I love that Rob Reiner said something positive about America before he closed out, but for the most part, all you get is critics in anger, and they say, well, America is based on protests. On the USA Today and New York Times, they don't talk about celebrating. They tell you how to protest, how to start your own protest. I think protest is part of America, but not on its birthday.
No, that's exactly right. So it's really abhorrent behavior. But again, I think this just pushes people further and further away from Democrats and further away from the left and more on our side. So that's the optimism. That's the silver lining in all of this.
That's why I say this tonight is a one big continuing, one massive happy story. And so you have to ask yourself, how is it that we happened to get to hashtag walk away? And
we want it done now. We're going to insist on it. If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet. Already, you have members of your cabinet that are being booed out of restaurants. Who have protesters taking up at their house. Who's saying no peace, no sleep. No peace, no sleep. And guess what? We're going to win this battle because while you try and quote the Bible, Jeff Sessions and others, you really don't know the Bible.
Right, like Maxine Waters knows the Bible. I'm sure she's a Bible-quoting son of a gun. When you listen to this, concomitant with a lot of other things, now you really do begin to understand why people are walking away.
God is on our side.
Really?
On the side of the children.
Right, for the children. All the children that you're aborting. Due to Margaret Sanger and Hillary Clinton and yourself being a great embracement of Margaret Sanger, who believed, by the way, in black genocide. You are that ignorant, Maxine Waters. You are that fucking stupid.
On the side of what's right, on the side of what's honorable, on the side of understanding that if we can't protect the children, we can't protect anybody.
We can't protect the children. Right. You can't protect the children because you embrace abortion. You want to protect the children. If that isn't one of the most ironic things I've heard in a long time. I could play the rest of that because she goes out and tells people to get in their faces, which is what the leftists who are inclined to violence do. So what's really happening? What's this about? Moreover, why is it occurring at a time when the LDAM are trumpeting a great blue wave, a great tsunami coming in November? Well, it's because of action like this. These are protesters that are yelling at Kirsten Nielsen in a restaurant. This was the beginning. Just the beginning. And she's, by the way, if you don't know, Kirsten Nielsen is DHS Secretary. So now, I'm sorry, I can't continue to listen to shrill female voices like that. It's why, nails on chalkboards and things like that. And, well, that was an example. And then there was another example.
I was talking earlier about how both sides are so distant from each other right now. And I think the left, frankly, has a little bit more heat on them right now, given the kind of pressure they're trying to put on anyone who thinks differently than them. I think it really questions sort of who we are right now, our identity as a country. This has always been a free place where you're welcome to think and say as you please. This is freedom of speech and freedom of thought. And
hold that thought just for a second. I bet you've envisioned this. I bet the thought has come across your brain housing group, especially with regard to the things that you're watching played out in front of your eyes on the television and in the news, the radio, however you consume your news. I'm sure you've been thinking something similar to what's going on with Kavanaugh and leftists is now campus politics moved the insanity, the craziness of campus politics now taken out of UC Berkeley and moved into the Senate and House chambers. Because now you've got senators and congressmen and women who are nothing but little teeny babies with diapers. And have you not made that connection yet already? It's playing right out in front of our eyes in D.C.
To me, we should welcome that diversity of thought. We should welcome a diversity in thinking when it comes to policy. But instead, one side wants to shut down the other right now. For more, I want to bring in former Governor Mike Huckabee, who, of course, is the father of Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
By the way, this is Trish Reagan talking to Mike Huckabee.
Sanders, who was so unceremoniously thrown out of that Little Red Head restaurant over the weekend. And you know, Governor, first of all, your thoughts just as a dad.
Well, it's an incredible thing when people, in the name of their liberty, want to deny someone else theirs. And if you're in the hospitality business, your number one goal is to be hospitable. The owner of that restaurant was not hospitable. In fact, a little-known part of this story is that after Sarah and her husband left...
Listen to this. This was not told to many people.
And the family relocated to a restaurant across the street. The owner of the Red Hen then organized an effort to go and scream at them from the sidewalk at the other restaurant. Finally, one of Sarah's in-laws, who happens to be very liberal, it's her brother-in-law, went out in the street and said, look, Sarah's already left. She didn't stay for obvious reasons. She's had all she needs tonight. The rest of us are trying to have dinner. I'm a liberal. I'm not a Trump supporter, but you guys aren't helping our cause. So it wasn't just what happened in the Little Red Hen restaurant. It's what happened ongoing by the owner of that restaurant.
By the way, one thing that you might want to know about the Red Hen restaurant, I can't even remember the town, and it's unimportant anyway, because the restaurant is unimportant and the town is unimportant. But the town was very upset, I should point out, with the Red Hen restaurant because subsequently all the patronage from tourists of that town pretty much ground to a stop. Schadenfreude.
Here's what I don't understand, Trish. Look, it's real simple. If I owned a restaurant, I'd want to take all the money I could from every conservative because I'd want to take that money and spend it on the things that would make them mad. But I'd treat them respectfully. I'd treat them nicely because that's what you do. You don't show your hate, your bigotry, your animosity toward people who are your guest. You open your door, you say we're open for business, then you treat people respectfully. It's pretty simple, really.
It is very simple, really. But simple clearly evades the brain housing groups of leftists these days. Anybody remember this tweet from Peter Fonda, massive leftist, out of Hollywood? This is another reason why people are walking away. The tweet went, "We should rip Baron Trump from his mother's arms and put him in a cage with pedophiles and see if mother will stand up against the giant asshole she's married to. 90 million people in the streets in the same weekend in the country. Fuck it." Wow. Okay. So Baron Trump should be, I suppose, raped by pedophiles. Oh, but Peter Fonda didn't stop there. He also sent another tweet that said, Christian Nielsen, the one in the restaurant who was getting shouted at that I played, is a lying gash that should be put in a cage and poked at by passerby. The gash should be pilloried in Lafayette Square, naked and whipped by passerby while being filmed for posterity. Now, what do you think, folks, would happen if one conservative or Republican were to refer to a female as a gash? What happened to Peter Fonda? Well, absolutely nothing. Then there was the Occupy Wall Street ad that said what to do if you encounter an ICE agent. One of the things was stab them and then behead them. That actually went out. Right. How perfect is that?
And secondly, you throw up, I think, in front of Ms. Collins and Ms. Murkowski, the two women Republicans, that they will be held responsible. They are doing the dance. They are pretending that because their nominee says this is all about precedent.
This is CNN talking about the people that may throw a monkey wrench into the Kavanaugh hearing confirmation.
That they can vote for him. No. The message to those two women by Democrats, by pro-choice women in those two states, by the entire states of Maine and Alaska has to be simple. You vote.
This is Jennifer Rubin, by the way, a Washington Post opinion writer.
For this, Ms. Collins, Ms. Murkowski, you have voted to criminalize abortion. This is on you. And we're not going to accept these nonsense excuses that, well, because he said he was in favor of precedent, this won't count, you can vote for him. No, it has to be all out on the ground in those states. Those women have to be put under a glaring light so that they finally have to make a choice that actually does go against their party, unless they were just phony pro-choice women all along, which is distinctly possible.
So because you have an opinion that varies from the leftists, that means you have to be destroyed. You absolutely have to be destroyed. So, by the way, that same person, Jennifer Rubin, said Sarah Huckabee Sanders should be harassed publicly as a life sentence. And she still has a job. Imagine that. I'm sure you remember this, however.
That the press is not the enemy of the people. And she asked you whether or not the press...
Jim Acosta and Sarah Huckabee Sanders
is the enemy of the people. You read off a laundry list of your concerns about the press and things that you feel like are misreported, but you did not say that the press is not the enemy of the people. And I think it would be a good thing if you were to say right here at this briefing that the press, the people who are gathered in this room right now, doing their jobs every day, asking questions of officials like the ones you brought forward earlier, are not the enemy of the people.
Jim, are you sure you really want this response?
I think we deserve that.
I think the president has made his position known. I also think it's ironic.
Would you mind telling us,
I'm trying to answer your question.
Okay, well,
I politely waited, and I even called on you despite the fact that you interrupted me while calling on your colleague. I said it's ironic.
Which is why I interrupted.
I'm trying.
But if you finish, if you would not mind letting me have a follow-up, that would be fine. But
it's ironic, Jim, that not only you and the media attack the president for his rhetoric when they frequently lower the level of conversation in
Listen to this
country. Repeatedly, the media resorts to personal attacks without any content other than to incite anger. The media has attacked me personally on a number of occasions, including your own network, said I should be harassed as a life sentence, that I should be choked. ICE officials are not welcomed in their place of worship, and personal information is shared on the internet. When I was hosted by the Correspondents Association, of which almost all of you are members of, you brought a comedian up to attack my appearance and call me a traitor to my own gender. In fact, as I know, as far as I know, I'm the first press secretary in the history of the United States that's required Secret Service protection. The media continues to ratchet up the verbal assault against the president and everyone in this administration, and certainly we have a role to play, but the media has a role to play for the discourse in this country as well.
And sir, if you don't mind, if I may follow up, excuse me, you did not say in the course of those remarks that you just made that the press press is not the enemy of the people. Are we to take it from what you just said? We all get put through the ringer. We all get put in the meat grinder in this town, and you're no exception.
I won't say all the press. I'll just say the bulk of the press.
And I'm sorry that
because the bulk of the press is leftist and members of the LDAM, leftists, Democrats, and of course the American media maggots themselves.
That happened to you. I wish that had not happened. But for the sake of this room, the people who are in this room, this democracy, this country, all the people around the world are watching what you're saying, Sarah, and the White House for the United States of America, the President of the United States should not refer to us as the enemy of the people. His own daughter acknowledges that, and all I'm asking you to do, Sarah, is to acknowledge that right now and right here.
Is that her job to do that? No.
I appreciate your passion. I share it. I've addressed this question. I've addressed my personal feelings. I'm here to speak on behalf of the president. He's made his comments clear.
Sarah,
go ahead.
On another matter.
And that's how you have it. That's why people are walking away. That's why the hashtag is valid. That's why I wanted you to hear what hashtag walkaway is all about. Again, someday, very soon, I hope to have the creator of the hashtag walkaway, Brandon Straka, on. We're sending emails back and forth, and I would love to have him on the show.
Monsieur has been locked!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. You want to contact me? You can find me on Twitter at BZEP, B-Z-E-P, also at my blog at bloviatingzeppelin.net. My original intro music is by Possessed Tranquility. You can find them at reverbnation.com. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and the Boeing Company. If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going. And of course, Pratt & Whitney Engines. Thrust. You can trust. Tiaras tonight were by My Little Pony. Thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle 1 refueling team with whom I shall be consorting in less than an hour. Bank on it, baby. Thank you ever so much for listening live. Thank you for being here in chat. Thank you for listening in podcast. Tomorrow night, Sackheads Against Tyranny, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern with Sackheads Sean, and of course, myself. God bless. Take care. Be safe. Good night.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children.
Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob. Go to sleep.
Good night, and good luck.